you've all been waiting for. It's time!
Welcome to the show where the screams collide, where blood runs cold and the shadows hide. Each week a fight, two films will clash. Last week's champ, will it burn to ash? The Roasted Snow Horror Show, where fear and gore will always flow. One film wins, one must go. The Roasted Snow Horror Show. Lights go down, the fight begins. Which nightmare takes the final win? You pick your side, we'll break it down. The Roasted Snow, the goriest showdown.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Roasted Snow Horror Show. I am your host, Ryan Rostad. Everybody thinks my last name is Roasted. I'm here with my good buddy and co-host, Chris Snow. Roasted Snow, that's how we go. Not that hard to, again, see where we got that. And this is the place where fear and dread go head to head. And you are listening to our first ever matchup for new releases. We got two good ones. We got Shelby Oaks going up against Dream Eater. We'll see how it falls. But Chris, how was your Halloween?
It was really good, man. I'm still sleeping off the candy hangover because I definitely went ham on some Skittles and some Milky Way. But, you know, that's how we do. YOLO, right?
Yeah, and well, why don't you tell everyone what you win as?
Oh, man. For the first time in my life, Ryan, I finally got a movie-quality Jedi Master outfit with a belt clip that will hold my lightsaber. So for the last 2 days, I felt right. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, the force is strong with this one.
100%.
So I'm guessing you had the high ground.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
100% every time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was almost as cool as you are. I was Bruno from Encanto.
We don't talk about Bruno!
Okay. I dig some Encanto.
Oh yeah, that music. Oh hell yeah, yeah. And then kids are coming up to you. I'm with my two littles, and they're like, "Hey Bruno, we don't talk about you." I'm like, I know.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh man, such a good song. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that listened last week. Obviously, we were just getting up off the ground, but got a lot
cool
of.
to hear all the feedback and all those pieces.
Yeah, and there was a lot of good feedback. There are a couple tips out there. I mean, we're going to continue to make this better as we find our groove. And again, just I was hoping we would hit maybe even just a couple people, and so each one that goes above that truly means something to us, and we're excited to keep this going. And I did hear from a lot of people that they were like, well, I don't have enough time to watch all those, but at least I have a list to go off of. And I'm interested to hear if they have any different opinions. And I'll just ask you, Chris, now that we've had a week to think about it, do you have any changes in your list from last week and kind of how things fell, or is it still Sinners for you?
I thought through all the ones we talked about. I mean, Sinners and going to your winner, Weapons, are just two great films. But that said, at the end of the day, I think where we landed or I should say at least where I landed, with Sinners coming out on top for me for last week, still has the crown. So that's the one that I'm carrying over today.
Nice. So I felt the same way. I'm still feeling Weapons, and then Sinners is my number 2. However, I did put in a new number 3. After thinking about it, I kicked Bring Her Back out.
That's why it's perfect. It's sort of against the rules, but not really.
And I threw in Bloodlines, Final Destination Bloodlines, because that one is just so fucking fun. I love that movie. And I love all of them, but I think my go-tos that's got to be up there. Obviously, not the scariest. Wasn't gonna, have any nightmares about it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really, really fun, and I think maybe that took it over Bring Her Back, because Bring Her Back is so serious and so
Mm-hmm.
just a downer, man.
It definitely doesn't leave you with a good feeling in your stomach when you finish it.
No, definitely not. All right, so well, anyway, I think we can move off that. We have our top three, and so what we're gonna do for these matchups is we're kind of gonna give you a spoiler free kind of walkthrough of the story and what the movies were about, and kind of what the general feel was. Then we'll get into more spoiler territory for each movie, and then at the end we will decide our winner. We may not have the same winner, but then it'll go up against our next week's new release. And did you have any specific one of those two that you wanted to start with?
I'm glad you asked because it's been really hard not to text you about these this week because I liked both of these movies a lot. Um, I think it might get kind of controversial the way our opinions fall, but I think that's kind of what's fun about this podcast and the conversation that you and I get to have. Because, yeah, both of these films are great. I'm really excited to talk about both of them. I really want to start with Shelby Oaks. We'll find. I'll tell you why as soon as we discuss both films. But
Well,
yeah, I'd love to start with Shelby
that's the
Oaks.
one I wanted to start with too. So,
So before we jump in, I do want to say we'll get a little bit deeper into this as the show progresses. But there's an aspect of found footage to both of these films, right? Me personally, I think found footage is the most effective horror for me, and I say that because I think a well done found footage film, you can make it for not a lot of money. It's not the spectacle and the size that's going to get you. Found footage has kind of a grounded approach. And what I mean by that is you watch a found footage horror film and you feel like what's happening in the film could happen to you. There's just a little bit of extra oomph to it where you're not watching it from a third person perspective, but you're seeing the same exact thing that your protagonist is seeing. So, yeah, both of these films, heavy found footage aspect to them. Happy to talk about them today because, like I said, it's my favorite piece. I don't know where you fall on that.
I am the exact same because and found footage gets a bad rap because people don't like the shaky cam. They think
Mhm.
the endings are dumb, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dumb endings out there for found footage, and that's usually where they lose people.
Mhm.
Uh, but I like being thrown right into it. And obviously, I think the first one that everybody goes to is Blair Witch Project because
Yeah, it's like the progenitor.
not only was it a found footage movie, but the marketing behind it, you know, people really thought these people were missing
Hmm.
or dead, and that brought the allure to it. Like, is this real? Is it not? And the way that they're able to film that, and people have gotten really creative with found footage now. With there's actually one, I think it's called Found Footage 3D, and it's about filmmakers making a found footage movie and then end up being haunted by something. So people have gotten creative with it. Obviously, when you do these movies, you have to explain why the camera is still rolling.
Keep the camera rolling.
And with social media now, there's ones that are from the POV of a laptop, and so it goes so well, and I love it, and I wish more people would give it a chance because it truly is. It's like a primal horror because it's like, hey,
Hmm.
I could walk through a haunted house, but this is production quality. I have no idea what's going to come out. And there's some movies that do it really good, and there's some movies that fall flat on it. And actually, one that we're going to talk about today, the Shelby Oaks, they take a very interesting approach with found footage, and it was a bit of a refresh on how to look at it. So I guess with that, we can just dive right into Shelby. If you want to just tell us a little bit about how you saw it play out, and if you want to give a spoiler-free kind of walkthrough on it about the premise.
Absolutely, I'd love to. So to kind of set things up, the basis of this film is again kind of going along with that found footage aspect. We have four YouTube paranormal investigators. I think they were called the Paranormal Paranoids. Was the
What
name
a
of their?
name! Yeah,
Yeah,
our
I mean,
show
I got to
sucks.
give it up
That's a
for
good
it.
one.
It's really a good one. I thought so too. I was like, this is going off on the right foot. I'm here for it. But the premise is these four they go missing, and while they're investigating a prison in the ghost town of Shelby Oaks, which, by the way, anytime you're investigating a ghost town, and particularly a prison in a ghost town, you're in for something good. Ultimately, the bodies of all three of them, but one character, kind of the leader of the group, her name is Riley. The bodies of the other three are found. Riley is not found, and one of their two cameras that they took along with them is recovered, and that camera contains some found footage of a terrified Riley. So the movie really picks up about 12 years after this, when Riley's older sister, she's interviewed by someone who's doing a documentary about the disappearance, and she kind of doesn't really believe, that her sister's dead. Even though they found the bodies of the other three, she feels like something's still going on with her sister. And the meat and potatoes of the movie is this girl, Mia, heading off to Shelby Oaks herself to determine what happened to her sister. And the rest of the movie we'll get into a little bit later.
That sums it up perfectly. Yep, because there's the whole thing of like hashtag who took Riley Brennan, and and again, the paranormal paranoids, they got me into that right away, and I'll get into a little bit more later as well. But if if you don't want the spoilers on it, you can actually go on YouTube and look up paranormal paranoids, and they actually filmed the little segments of found footage and put them on YouTube, so you can actually watch these segments that they get into a little bit in the movie. Some of them they touch on a lot, some of them not so much, but you can actually go back and watch those. So just a nice little Easter egg for you if you just want to check that out and see if it's for you.
And I will say too, Ryan, on that note, the way that kind of marketing for a movie, especially a low budget horror film, right? That kind of marketing is what takes you to the next level for me. Like that fourth wall break, you know what I mean? And when I said earlier about how you feel like a good found footage could happen to you, or it really did happen, and you're looking at the footage of what it did. When they add those extra layers, like they'll put something up on YouTube. It's like, yeah, these paranormal paranoids are a real group. That's just that extra flavor for me. I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we already touched on with Blair Witch Project, their marketing. Like, oh, this camera was recovered, and the aspects that this one goes to kind of flip the script on that a little bit. I really enjoyed it. That one is going up against a true found footage horror movie. Eli Roth produced it. It's called Dream Eater, and it is Shelby Oaks is pretty low budget. This is lower budget.
Help me, I'm poor.
So it follows a couple. It is Mallory is a documentary filmmaker, and her boyfriend Alex has been experiencing some sleep issues, and he has a bad episode or two, and they get a doctor involved, and basically they go off to a secluded winter cabin to kind of reset their brains and get him away from stress. He can just shut his brain off. It's what everybody want to do. And then obviously you kind of can see where this is going. Everything is documented, and slowly but surely, being out in a secluded cabin doesn't fucking help.
I want to show you something. It's my shocked face.
No. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it doesn't go well. And really, like, as many layers as Shelby Oaks might have, this one is pretty straightforward. It literally is shot with two people. Any other characters are just on a Zoom call.
That's the beauty of it all. Simplicity.
It was filmed in 9 days. Like, it is as low budget as you can get.
Help me, I'm poor.
Which is truly, the bare roots of found footage. And that's why people started making them anyway, because they wanted to make a movie. They didn't have the money to do it. Obviously, I have a lot to say when we get to the spoiler version of this. And I think we're probably going to hit that right now. So if you have not seen these movies, if you want to see these movies, shut us off and come back and listen to our recap. But we'll go right into the spoiler-filled version for Shelby Oaks, which when I first saw the preview for this, and I thought the person's name was Shelby Oaks, and even the last show that we did, I could not remember the name of the movie to save my life. But now I won't forget it. So, and if I could just start off with this and saying, like, the movie starts off with the mockumentary style. Like, they go into the paranormal paranoids. They tell you, what they were all about, how they always caught something on camera, how it was in the early days of YouTube. And so, yeah, there were skeptics out there, but it was still fairly new because, like you said, it was 12 years ago. And this format is really cool because it takes you through these, like, the prison, and there's like a walk and a hike, and you can see something in the corner that they zoom in on, and it's all these videos that they're watching. And then they go to Mia, and I believe she's having a documentary done about it too, so that they can try and find Riley. And there's a knock at the door. You're like, okay, fine. And this is where the tonal shift happens, because there's a guy at the door, and I believe he says something like, they finally let her go, or let me go.
Yep, she finally let me go.
Yep. And he blows his fucking brains out all over Mia. Like, blood is all over her face.
In the face! In the face!
And this is like probably 20 minutes into the movie, 15, 20 minutes. And they zoom in on his hand, and he has the tape, the lost tape from that other camera. And it says Shelby Oaks on it. And then here come the credits. And the first name that pops up is Mike Flanagan Presents. And I was like, oh shit, this is Mike Flanagan? This is Haunting of Hill House? This is Fall of the House of Usher? And obviously he produced it and got his name on it. He didn't have, he didn't direct it or anything, but I thought that was a nice surprise. And then you get, the credits from right there, and you kind of forget that you didn't see the credits. At least I did. I was like, wow, this is a whole new movie we're going into.
Yep, it's changing things up. And I mean, I'm gonna skip over a lot right here, but we'll come back and talk about it, of course. Spoiler alert: Riley is alive, and the things that she's gone through over the past 12 years, suffice to say, are the limits of what I think the human psyche can take. So this man that Ryan has mentioned, his name's Miles. Him showing up and killing himself and saying she finally let me go leads to the discovery of a mini DV tape that happens to be on his person. It's labeled Shelby Oaks, which is, of course, where Riley disappeared. And she's able to watch it, and the tape reveals that the paranormal paranoids were investigating the prison along with an abandoned amusement park, which was close by the prison. They're attacked. They're killed by this man, Miles, who just killed himself. And the video also shows him capturing Riley before the footage cuts out. I will also say one small Easter egg here. If you watch closely, there is a dog with glowing eyes outside of Mia's home. And we'll come back to that a little bit later. But long story short, Mia does interview the former prison warden, who does tell her who the man is, Wilson Miles, a violent offender. She ends up going to the prison, and she finds she does find a book in Riley's belongings that describes demonic symbols.
You must not read from the book!
And she learns a little something about an incubus and hellhounds. So you remember I mentioned the dog earlier with the glowing eyes. We'll come back to that. But again, she becomes convinced that Riley was basically a victim of an occult ritual. And going to the prison, she does learn that this amusement park, which can be seen from Miles' former cell, is more than what it looks like. So she heads over to the amusement park, searching for her sister. She's attacked by a hellhound on the way, and as soon as she gets there, this is where things get really, really dark. She meets Miles' mother, Norma,
who's just randomly fucking living out there. She's the only one out there.
Yeah, that alone. I mean, those kinds of things to me are like, wait, what? This old lady is living out here by herself near an amusement park in an abandoned ghost town. I mean, if that doesn't just get the blood creeping and the goosebumps out and give you the red flags to run and bring other people with you, I don't know what else will. But speaking of Norma, I'm going to let you take this part, Ryan, because it's pretty. It was pretty tough.
Yeah, and obviously, when she first meets Norma, it's on her porch, and she's pretty startled. She's like, "You live out here?
Get off my lawn."
And that's kind of what the audience is thinking too, because, you know, you're in the middle of this ghost town abandoned amusement park, and you can't see her face right away. And that's just the way the lighting is. It's late at night. She's on a porch. The porch is dimly lit. And so she invites her in, and they go in, and you already know. It's like, why are you going in there? Don't go in there. You're so stupid. So goes in there, and at this point you have no idea what this lady, like, yeah, she's creepy, but you know what? There's been plenty of horror movies where the creepy person actually is very helpful. And not the case in this movie. So they have a conversation, and she, you know, Mia says, you know, have you seen this girl? You know, and shows a picture of Riley, and clearly, you know, she says that she hasn't seen her, and Mia wants to kind of poke around a little bit more, and so I believe she says, like, yeah, I'll take that water, or I'll take, you know, if you're cooking something, I'll take that, you know, and so Norma goes into the other room. So then Mia starts snooping, and she comes across I believe it's a photo album, and it shows Miles and Riley in a wedding ceremony that was not consensual.
No.
No. Riley has like this, you know, it was almost like a midsummer type, like, you know, crown on her head, and so basically, you kind of see where this is going.
Yeah.
She was used for, and to put it lightly, she was used for purposes of a demon spawn. And that's where it was nice. There were, you know, with the hellhounds, and the one thing I didn't really like is that you saw the demon more than I wanted to. There is a cool shot here, though, in Norma's house where she says, because Mia calls her out on it. She goes, "Where's my sister? Like, I have all this evidence. You know where she is." She goes, "Well, yeah, come on down. She's in this really creepy basement." So Mia goes down there, and sure enough, she wasn't lying. Riley's down there, and she's in this cage, and it's almost like surreal. She doesn't know it's her actual sister.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Because, like, you know, it's been years and years and years. And so she gets Riley out of there. And there's this really cool shot when they go back up the stairs, and you see Norma, and she has the glowing eyes. And behind her, you can see the shadow, the silhouette of the demon standing right behind her. And I thought that was a cool shot. But there's other parts, like in the prison, you can see, and like the CGI hellhounds aren't great either. That's probably my biggest beef with this movie, is that I didn't like the hellhounds. And so Riley's pregnant. And I believe she's lost quite a few babies in this time.
And I do want to put on there, the whole issue with Miles and Riley is that, like you alluded to, you know, the non-consensual wedding ceremony. Riley's essentially been held prisoner and raped multiple times over these 12 years with the goal of creating a baby for this family, essentially.
Right. And, you know, it's kind of ambiguous if, you know, they say she finally, you know, Miles said she finally let me go. Like, was Miles truly like a hostage in this too? You know, they don't really get into a ton of that. But so Riley is indeed with child right now. And they get out of the house seemingly. And actually my memory's kind of fading on this. Do they take out the mom?
Yeah. There's a fire poker scene.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Riley grabs the fire poker before she heads upstairs, and she meets out a little bit of revenge on Miss Norma.
Oh my fucking god, she fucking dead.
Just a little bit, just a tad, just some baby swings. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know why I was spacing that one, but yes. So, you know, you get the false happy ending. It's like, hey, you know, we got out there. She ends up giving birth to this baby, and the baby is just, oh my god, he's so adorable. He's so happy. And you know, Riley's obviously trying to deal with the trauma and everything, because deep down she knows, she's like, this baby should never come to term. And
don't forget, Norma, before she was incapacitated, I should say, performs a little ritual over the baby.
Right. And so, and you as the audience also know, you're like, this baby is, intentionally too cute right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and actually, because it leads into the ending here, but
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the movie, Mia is talking to, I believe it's her husband, and they kind of fly, like her and her husband are going through some issues because she's obsessed with finding her sister, and they've been
Mm-hmm.
trying to have a baby and they can't have a baby. So they talk about it. They don't dive too much into it, but she says that, Riley was, seeing this figure outside her window all the time. And so when they were younger, she would go, and one night she went and laid in her bed, and she never told anyone about this. And she saw this demon outside, and it cracked the glass outside the window. And, and that at the time when you're watching it, you're like, okay. And she says, he was staring at what he really wanted.
I wanted donuts.
And, obviously Riley, at least that's what you think, it's Riley. And so near the end of the movie, the baby's born. Riley is in her old room, and she wakes up, and the baby's crying, and she has this look, and it's like, she's going to try and, unalive this baby right now. And
Mm-hmm.
she, by God, she tries. She, she takes a pillow, and I'm just going to let your imagination do the rest on that. Mia does stop her. Mia's like, this isn't you. And obviously Mia's always wanted to be a mother. She hasn't had her own kid. So she does feel protective of this kid that has been thrown into her life. And Riley, unfortunately, has a date with a window and some concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And, Riley meets an unfortunate end. And it's very, very tragic because of everything that she went through. And do you have a thought?
Yeah, I was, and speaking of that end, because we're building to the ultimate climax of this film. We mentioned earlier in the film the red-eyed hound that Mia happened to see outside of her place. Obviously, as Riley meets the sidewalk, it's not the sidewalk that kills her. It's a significant amount of hellhounds. Who let the dogs out? That happen to show up and feast upon her still alive body, which is, it's a CGI piece, like you said earlier, that it doesn't necessarily land. But granted, this is a low budget horror film, and that's not what it's about. But just kind of knowing how she meets her end and what that's all about. The hellhounds from before have showed up, so we're really closing the circle on these demonic entities.
Well, and
leading towards
that
this end.
CGI part, actually, that one hit for me, because you do think she's just gonna die by hitting the concrete, and that's just kind of how it's going. And then, out of nowhere, here come, it's dinner time, and and you just feel so bad because Riley has been through the ringer already, and it's an especially cruel end for a character like that. And and like you said, it closes the chapter on that. So Mia goes into mom mode, and wants to take care of this baby, and it's slowly, and I thought it was expertly revealed, that scene earlier where she sees the demon outside of Riley's window and says he was staring at what he truly wanted.
I wanted donuts.
Well, what he truly wanted was Mia to save that baby. And every little piece brought them to that point, and how her search to keep Riley around and to have that maternal, it's just, it makes you rethink everything that you saw in the movie. Because I won't even say it's a super twist, but it definitely is like, wow, like that was a lot of work to get to that point, but I can kind of see it.
It brings back, like you said, when Riley's childhood belief, right? They talk about this a little bit earlier. Well, I should say a lot of it earlier in the film when Mia's doing her documentary. Like she said, Riley would always see something out the window, or she would always see something. She always had this belief that something was watching her, and the reveal of the demon, the incubus, at the end. She does realize that Riley's childhood belief that something was watching her was actually this demon, Tyrion, observing both of them, intending one of them, Riley, to bear his child, and the other one, Mia, to actually raise it. And the final scene is that incubus, Tyrion, appearing right behind her and grabbing her shoulders. I mean, and then her eyes glow and she screams, cut camera, and film. Great ending. Great ending.
Yeah, and I think it made up for some of the faults, like the CGI, and I wasn't crazy about seeing the incubus either. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, but yeah, just a hand on the shoulder, and I almost wish that would have been the first time that you saw the entity would be
Sure.
at the very end, because I do think some movies get too far into this, like, oh, this creature looks so scary, I want you to see it all the time. So I think if they dialed that back a little bit, and if that was truly the first time that you saw it, and I was even fine seeing it outside the window, because they do show his face pretty clear when he's standing outside the window, and it all comes full circle, and it's just like, wow, not only was Riley telling the truth, but I am here for a reason, and that is that's terrifying. And I do think, while I wish this would have been a full found footage movie, I do like that they took a stab and how they switched it up. And a little bit of background on this: this movie was greenlit before COVID. COVID hit, and it got just completely decimated. So they had to crowdfund it.
Help me, I'm poor.
They got over $1 million, and they're able to get it done. But in that time, they were filming the YouTube pieces, like I mentioned earlier, for the Paranormal Paranoids. And the director, it was his directorial debut, and he, this was a passion project. He loved this. He had done a lot of short films and found footage stuff, and I really liked the marketing on this. I mentioned it last week. I really didn't know anything about it. I knew that it had some found footage flair, but the way the story played out, obviously I thought there was some stuff that they could cut out, but ultimately it was very entertaining, and I walked out of there and my first thought was like, wow, that's a very good start to this horror season.
Definitely. I mean, again, going back to my love of the found footage genre and kind of what they did with this one, it's it's not necessarily anything new, but to me, it's something that was well done. And I really appreciated that. Like I said, I thought the premise and kind of the building dread, it does take away a little bit when you actually see the demon at Norma's house. But the building dread up to that climax really did it for me. I was happy about that.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't have anything to add, we can get into to Dream Eater.
The Dream Eater. I'll let you kick this one off.
He eats your dreams. So this one start to finish found footage, like old school found footage. And it starts off with a 911 call, which a lot of found footage movies do. Or, this footage was recovered from blah, blah, blah. Well, this 911 call, it's Mallory. She's calling about her boyfriend, Alex, and how her boyfriend sleepwalks, and he busted his arm through a glass window and sliced himself really bad. There's blood everywhere. And in most found footage horror movies, you think that this is the end. Like, he's going to bleed out. And so they usually do this was 1 or 2 weeks earlier, and then you go through the whole narrative. This time, they fast forward 1 week later.
1 week later,
after he's getting out of the hospital from this incident and this arm injury, and you learn a little bit about the characters, about how Alex, he did some work, on the entertainment side, but currently he's unemployed. His girlfriend Mallory, she is a documentary filmmaker, but they're really tight on money, and they don't shy away from telling you that.
Help me, I'm poor.
They talk about their money issues probably for a good 50% of the first chunk of this movie. So they go to this secluded cabin in the woods because they want I believe it's medical advice wants him to get away for a bit. And so they scrounge up their money, and they get this place, and Alex, he's such an asshole. He's so snarky. I love it.
If I can say before you move on, if you're having trouble and you're having problems and you're having like scary things happen to you, don't go to a cabin in the middle of the woods.
No. there's there's a reason why it's a horror cliche, and that's why there's been umpteen million movies about it. But having said that, I'm always down for a good cabin horror movie.
I mean, Evil Dead to now, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I believe I mentioned last week even the movie The Cabin in the Woods, which I love. Yeah, and even though I've seen the same movie play out about a million times, I'm a sucker for it. Give
Of
me a
course.
cabin. Give me, because the woods are scary. If you've ever gone, out to a cabin, it is, hey, you're out in
Yeah,
the
it's
middle of
terrifying.
nowhere. Yeah, and that's why found footage is so effective in this particular setting, is because you truly don't know what's going to happen. Not going to get too much into it, but like Creep. I don't know if you've ever seen Creep, but that one also takes place in a cabin, and that one's pretty darn creepy too. But as the title explains, so they go to this cabin, and he's just so snarky the entire time. I saw this movie with my brother, and we were just laughing like the whole first half of the movie, because he's so funny, and he's bitching about the money the whole time about, I don't think we should have spent money on this place. You just wanted to come up here. And so they do explain why they're filming it, because the doctor asked Mallory to film any incidents that Alex may have or anything out of the ordinary.
Keep the camera rolling.
Now, she's a documentary filmmaker, so she's just wants to film everything. And there is this added layer there of, and Alex even brings it up later after he started to go through this process, this unfortunate process of, you're still filming because you just want me to be the subject of your next documentary. And I thought that was an interesting twist on it, because I truly don't think that that's where her mind goes, but I think maybe subconsciously she's like, oh yeah, no, this is a gold mine. And they go into that a little bit later, but so they go to this cabin, and they keep putting the timestamps up, which I thought was pretty funny, because Paranormal Activity did it. They're like, oh, this is at 3:23 in the morning. But this one's at 1:10 p.m. They're having lunch. So I thought that was kind of funny. And there's some, you can tell they're a couple, they love each other, but there are some issues there. She kind of feels like she's carrying this weight and trying to fix him and trying to help him. And it's truly a helpless feeling, because in her mind, he's just sleepwalking. And it starts out slow, like most found footage horror movies do. And can I just say one thing about this cabin? And if I had to give this movie a one sentence review, it's fuck that fucking staircase. I hate that staircase.
Fuck stairs.
And it gave me so much anxiety, not because I was scared, but because, and for those of you listening that, you haven't seen the movie, basically, if you're walking up the stairs, on the right side, there's the handrail and it's into the wall. But on the left side, there's just a fucking loft.
Going up the stairs and going down the stairs and going up the stairs and going down the stairs and going up the sideways stairs.
And there's no railing.
It's insane.
There's no nothing. And I'm thinking, I'm like, if I lived in this place and I'm waking up at 2 a.m. and I got to take a piss, I'm falling down those stairs. Or if I've had a few to drink, like those stairs are terrifying. So every time they came up, I just muttered under my breath, like, fuck those stairs.
House of Cards, Kevin Spacey, Frank Underwood, fuck these stairs.
I was thinking, who designed this cabin? Who built this?
Right. Well, and that actually it brings up a point that I want to talk about is when they pull up to the cabin, he goes, hey, it's our own little private overlook, and the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. And there's a lot of subtle nods to The Shining. Obviously, it's a man that is going through a mental crisis, and he is slowly, sliding into mayhem.
I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in.
And, you're in a cabin. It's snowy. There's nowhere to go. And I'll get into my favorite Shining callback here in a bit. But so like I said, start slow, and it's always by the fucking staircase.
Fuck stairs!
And he's talking to somebody, and he's muttering under his breath. And, Mallory tries, you never wake a sleepwalker. So she tries to, subtly, Alex, it's okay. I'm right here. And he gets startled in each one of these episodes. It's like, he's here, he's here, he's here. And so you're like, okay, who is it? What is it? Blah, blah, blah. These incidents, obviously become more and more aggressive, to a point where, and correct me if I'm missing one, but the one that stands out is, he has to go to this crawl space, and they mention the crawl space at the beginning when they get there. It's the crawl space outside. It's super creepy, so it's going to come back into play. He goes out in the middle of the night in the woods, butt ass naked. You see a little bit more of him than you bargained for when you bought your ticket.
In all his glory, as we like to say.
In all his glory, yep. And he actually attacks Mallory, and obviously he doesn't know that he's doing this. He attacks Mallory, and she enlists the help of this doctor that, because Alex mentions that he sees this figure, and it's kind of like a skeleton with, I believe, snakes. It's kind of like almost a Medusa looking thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and so he's describing this, and she keeps wanting to know about his family history. I don't want to talk about it. Well, turns out he doesn't want to talk about it because his mom, and I don't know if they talk about his dad, but his mom was part of a cult. At least that's what he believes. She was part of a cult that was obsessed with this figure, with this demon. And we got a demon theme in this episode tonight.
That's a good point, yeah.
And so he doesn't truly know his history. And Mallory's trying to get behind it and go behind his back and talk to his sister, his foster sister. And turns out his mom was, I believe she was held hostage by this cult, a lot like the first movie that we discussed. And she, not nice things happened to her, and she was pregnant with Alex. And, I can't remember if she saw the demon or not, but she fucks up these cult members. Like she murders them all.
It's how she gets, that's basically how she escapes her plight, I guess you could say.
Right. And so, you find this out through backhanded exposition. And initially when they talk to this other doctor who is an expert with this figure, Mallory blows him off. And she's like, no, he's crazy. We don't need to talk to him. And so that causes some strain in their relationship too, because he's mad that she went behind his back. And then you get into a part of the movie where, and this may have even been before the crawl space part, but it's like a noon thing, and he is standing by the sink, and he just he yells, "Hey Mallory, come watch this." Turns on the garbage disposal and is about half a second away from putting his hand in the garbage disposal. And and I talked about Achilles slices last week. Achilles! Garbage disposals, that's another one that I can't handle.
Stick your hand right down there for a surprise.
Oh God, yeah. So that's where she went. And so you can see this madness driving him. Finally, the climax of the movie, she wants to get out of the cabin. Every time he falls asleep, this is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So she finally listens to this doctor's advice, because he says, has he talked to this entity? Which he has. And basically he's taken it over. So she goes to grab him and he's asleep again. It's like, really? Just drag his ass to the car. Just take his ass out of there. That's all you got to do. But she doesn't. She lets him sleep it off, and she talks to this doctor one last time. And essentially, this cult was going to make this child a dream walker, dream eater. I mean, the movie's called Dream Eater, but
yes,
basically, he's walking the earth in an eternal sleep and terrorizing others. And she goes, well, today's his 30th birthday.
Happy birthday, bitch!
And that sets everything in motion at the very end. And of course, you get the cliche like found footage running through the house, this and that. People jumping out of, Alex is jumping out of round the corners.
Loud noises.
Ah! Stop! I could have dropped my croissant.
Yeah, loud noises. And there's some good effective jump scares in here. But what I really appreciated is, okay, so Mallory reluctantly stabs Alex in the chest. He is on top of her. He is trying to kill her. She stabs him in self-defense. And after she stabs him, he kind of comes back to Earth. And now he's Alex again. And they share this nice moment. But, she had to make the sacrifice. Cuts to the end. She's on her own now. She killed off her boyfriend. She's going through some stuff. She gets a voicemail from, I believe, a producer that she's worked with. And he's like, look, I know that this is super sensitive, but the stuff that you caught on camera, that's really something. And that you could have a huge hit on your hand documentary. And she doesn't really want to hear it. She doesn't even answer the call. She just listens to the voicemail. Or the voicemail is played over the end of the movie. And turns out she throws up. She's pregnant. That's the one last gift that Alex gave her. Unfortunately, and much like the last movie, this kind of carries on the line and the lineage of this demon.
Hey, I've seen this one.
And a very good jump scare at the end because something's coming, and just the way Alex is standing in that doorway. And in this house that they're in, at least they have a normal fucking staircase.
They have a banister they can put their hand on to walk up and down.
Right. I mean, what my thoughts on this movie is, obviously it's not the scariest found footage movie I've ever seen, but I really enjoyed it. And actually going back to the Shining callbacks, when she goes to find him in the shed outside at the end of the movie, after she's found out that it's his 30th birthday and all these events have been set in motion, she goes and finds all these drawings of this creature. And it's like 100 drawings of this creature, super dark, black painting drawings of him. And it reminded me of The Shining, where it's like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But instead of that, it is all of this. And I think he even says, he's like, do you like it? And so I really enjoyed that callback to The Shining. And so that made me really enjoy this movie, just the simplicity of it. And, I thought the Mallory, and that's her real life name, she, you can tell she wasn't the strongest actress of all time. But, I thought Alex did a fantastic job and kind of his descent into madness. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, hitting on the demon theme, right? I mean, we're really going heavy with the demons on this episode, but this again, going back to what found footage does well, it's that sense of impending dread, right? It's how things are escalating. So in this case, as the nights go on and as he continues to have this insomnia that's getting worse and worse, that escalation factor is coming in. They called this movie, what they say? They said it feels Lovecraftian, like a Lovecraftian horror, which I think is appropriate. I think anytime you have, before now or when I was a baby, things I can't remember. My mom was involved in a cult and they tried to, possess me as I was a child, and it's playing out now in my life. Like that, it's a premise that works. And in this case, I thought the acting, particularly for Alex, it worked. Was serviceable. I think that it worked for the story they were trying to tell. I also agree with the lack of banister on the stairs. Just makes me want to go. Man, my cats would definitely jump under my feet as I'm trying to walk up and down that thing, and I'd be dead.
Those stairs, for real.
Every time I see them, I thought the same thing. But yeah, playing off the twist ending where she finds out that she's pregnant, and it can kind of carry on the thing. Controversial opinion.
Wait a minute, hold up!
I don't necessarily think that every movie needs to have a twist ending where they call back and it's like the horror's not over. It works in this one, but I'll be honest, it kind of took away a little bit from me. And I might be biased here. It probably took it away a little bit because I just didn't want to see it happen. I wanted kind of like a resolution ending to what's happening. But I understand why they did it. I understand that it does work. But yeah, I obviously these, and I guess maybe the other reason that I don't like it is because, that these low budget films that are good. Like I did enjoy this film. You're not guaranteed that they're ever going to get a sequel or they're going to do anything else. So when you set up these cliffhanger endings, right, or these twist endings, it almost feels like, are we ever actually going to see anything come of it, or is it just kind of sit in our mind that the horror is not over? So it's serviceable, it's fine, but it didn't land for me as much as I was hoping that it would.
See, the ending didn't bother me,
Yeah.
but like while you said your controversial topic there, I like a good twist ending. I mean, most of these you can see it coming. I mean, obviously the moment that she throws up, you're like, all right, I see where this is going.
I get it.
I'll do another controversial.
This is some shit up with which we will not.
And that plays a lot in this episode. Can we get away from cults? Like every movie has a fucking cult. Like Together, there was a cult. This movie, there was a cult. Him, a cult.
Cult. Everything has to be a cult.
As Dan Cummins would say, cult. Yeah. So that's just something that like I get it. It's to me it's a little played out. How every single thing is a Paranormal Activity. That was a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Blair Witch. I mean, I guess it's not technically a cult, but
it feels like a reverse Deus Ex Machina. Like it's an easy, cheap way to, insert a plot device. And it works. It does work sometimes, but sometimes you just want to see some good old fashioned horror that doesn't have to do with a cult.
Right, like found footage. I mean, like The Last Exorcist. That was a cult. Like it just there's cults everywhere, and like you said, yeah, it's the same ending over and over, and in a lot of ways, and didn't even realize it until we started talking about it. But Shelby Oaks and Dream Eater have a pretty similar ending. And it's they do it in a different way, but there is a baby involved in each one. They're actually very similar movies. And to your point on, we don't know if we're ever going to see a sequel. I don't think we're going to see a sequel.
It's not
mainly because a lot of these low budget horror movies, the way that they continue is by word of mouth. And this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. Like obviously Blair Witch, that worked. Paranormal Activity was another one. I had never heard of Paranormal Activity until like 3 friends were like, oh my god, this is the scariest thing ever. So and obviously that one spawned like 6 sequels, but
the media campaign for that was fantastic, I will say.
Right. No one's like it's nice that Eli Roth and Mike Flanagan picked up these movies and put their names on it, because those are names that I do trust. Mike Flanagan, obviously a lot more recent, and Eli Roth, it did kind of throw me off a little bit because I thought it was going to be a lot gorier. Neither of these movies are super gory. There's a couple more gory parts in Shelby Oaks, because they did have a slightly bigger budget, because it was at least a studio that was putting it on. But I did appreciate that this movie was filmed in 9 days, just with 2 people. So that does go into effect, coming into my final decision here. But you want me to tell you my favorite, or do you want to go first?
I you know what? Why don't I jump on, because I started with Shelby Oaks. I enjoyed both of these films. I enjoyed the aspects of both of them. I will say one. You know what? I will say this too. Though I enjoyed both of them, they weren't close for me in terms of which one I like more. And my comments about the ending might pick it up for you, but I did enjoy Shelby Oaks more than Dream Eater on this one.
Well, and
I thought the impending sense of doom and the multiple locations, and when she does finally find her sister, and you get to actually find out what was happening to her and why, that was pretty terrifying to me.
Oh, and I kind of figured that was the way you were going to go on this one. But that's why I love doing this format, because like, hey, it doesn't matter why you liked one more. I just want to know why. And you explained your ending and why that didn't hit for you. And we're going to have a disagreement here. It's on the Donkey Kong, bitch. Because I'm going to pick Dream Eater.
This contest has been judged a majority draw.
And it was probably a little closer than, because you said yours wasn't necessarily close. But I think what did it for me was the CGI and the overuse of seeing the demon and it did just kind of take me out of the story a little bit. Whereas
Mhm.
Dream Eater, it stays found footage the whole time. The only time that really took me out of it was when Mallory would be sitting doing a Zoom call and then her camera sitting on the side, so it kind of looks like it's not found footage. But that's why I'm gonna choose Dream Eater on that one. But again, like you said, I recommend both films. But if you don't like found footage, if that's not your thing, then Shelby Oaks is probably the way to go because there isn't as much found footage. It is the underlying, plot device there that this was a thing. But I think a great start here for both movies. We both have. So the way this is going to work is the movie we cover next week, which is am I saying it right? Bulgonia. Bulgonia. So the way that's going to work is we're going to cover that one next week, and we can each go head to head on our own movies here and see what comes out on top. And I'd be interested to hear anyone else's opinion on which, if they've seen both movies. If not, they both weren't marketed super highly. So it is kind of a rarity that we got. They're not these blockbusters. But Bulgonia, that one, I believe it's a remake, and I've never seen the original, but it has Emma Stone in it, and she plays this high level, chick CEO, badass, and she is kidnapped by two conspiracy theorists who want to prove that she's an alien, and that's really all I know about it. Like I said, with this show, I'm going to try and go in blind, but so we got your champ, we got Shelby going up against Bulgonian. I got Shelby Oaks the better title. Dream Eater's kind of corny, but yeah, Dream Eater's gonna go up against it. But
Shelby Oaks is a great title. I will agree.
It is. It's very it's mysterious. It's it's forbidden.
It's impending.
It is totally. Do you have anything you want to say to everybody before we get out of here on this matchup?
No. Great chat on these two great films that I recommend, both of them. Thank you guys for listening. This is a lot of fun to do, and can't wait to see you on the next episode, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week for Begonia. All right, bye everyone.
See ya.
The roasted snow.